Hey, Vibe.
Yo, what's up, dude?
What's going on?
Not much, I'm living life on a Tuesday. Yeah. How you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm glad to be the first lesson of the day.
Yeah, I actually have a double. This is a double header today. We got another one in a few hours.
Oh, okay, fair
But
enough.
yeah, so dude, tell me everything. I know we've talked a couple times before, so let me know how things are going.
All right. I'll just jump in the game actually real quick.
Sure.
So we've talked a bunch. I'm a Protoss player, and right now I'm just about to maybe promo into plat. I've got a few matches left, and I'm a B2GM guy. Love the build, and since I emailed you, I've realized that if executed properly and efficiently, the B2GM build can, survive all in. So I'm very happy about that. What I have today, I guess, is a couple of replays that are short and they're PvP Protoss up to no good. Protoss is my worst match. I'm like a self-hating Protoss player, because they're like my worst matchup. So how I could go about preparing. I have questions based on each replay, and then I
Sure.
just have some general questions. So I thought maybe look at the replays, have you answer my questions would be great, and then maybe play you, and you could see what about your build I could be doing better on,
Okay.
maybe.
If that's how you want to go about it, I'm totally fine. Um,
Or what do you think? I would rather just do what you think is best.
no, I mean it's so like if we break down the replay, depending on what we're talking about exactly, if we're talking about like execution level stuff, like if we're talking about micro things, which is not really because again, if we're talking about platinum and below B2GM, that's more in the realm of playing me in a live game wouldn't necessarily be the way to go. I would say I would rather have you play like an AI and I just watch you and like kind of like critique as I see what you're doing if there's problems there.
Okay.
But if yeah, so that would probably be the better way to go, just so I can see like that the build itself is looking more flawless than anything. It would just save time because it would eliminate the fact of having to watch a replay then for that.
Okay.
But yeah, for like replay analysis as well, like together we could totally jump into something and then I could kind of see where you're at and then develop your build from there, and then we could have you go into a game yourself like live after that. I guess if that just sounds
All right.
pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds good. The two replays I have are really short and they wouldn't take much time, and I already have questions
Sure.
related to them. So yeah, I'm fine playing the AI live after the replays, or maybe before, whatever you think is good.
Sure. We'll do it after. That way you can have like an actual game plan. Because
Okay.
I would say if you wanted to do it before, we just would just skip the replays, and I would just see you do a live game, and it would be like that would be a replay itself.
Okay.
Um, but either way works. Just I guess if you want to jump into replay, right now or whatever we want to do, it's really your call. You can do a computer game now, or you can do a replay now, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Um,
I'll do a replay first
okay,
because
sure.
maybe we can only look at one because they're both very similar.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, well, I'm gonna see a lot no matter what about how I am gonna witness what you're doing.
Okay.
Um, I guess, are you currently on BattleNet right now?
Yep, I have the replay selected.
Okay, so let's try a new way to do this. I've been doing this lately, and a lot of people really like it, and I think it's even better. This way,
Okay.
what I want you to do is just send me the replay in this private conversation we have right now in Discord. You can just drag and drop it in the chat. And what I can do for you is I can share my screen on Discord, and it's like instant, like point for point, like what I'm looking at is what I'm talking about, and you can see on my screen what I'm referencing all the time.
Okay. Cool. All right. I just found it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Sure. This way you don't have to actually like find me on BattleNet every time as well. I feel like the system is actually a bit easier to work with here. Okay. So
So while you're loading it up, I can give you my question,
sure.
or we can wait.
Yeah, no, go for it. Whatever you want, dude. You don't have to. You don't have to preface it or anything. Just ask away whenever you feel is comfortable.
All right. So like this replay, basically, this guy went into a 4-gate stalker maneuver, and when I scouted, he had a very stable, normal looking build. But then as soon as my scout left, he started making gates and he went into like 4 gate stalker thing. So I'm wondering, how do I know when I should leave a probe in his natural or not? And then the other replay is like a guy was looking at me, and once he saw me expand, he also went into the 4 gate. So it's like I have these Protoss players that are kind of like waiting to do the 4 gate when I'm not paying attention.
Well, keep in mind, okay, this is a big piece of this. If you do get 4-gated, realistically, again, we're talking gold here. It shouldn't matter that much as long, like really at all. And the reason why is because if you have a battery, and if you have if you're pumping immortals, you're gonna, generally speaking, crush the shit out of a 4-gate. Because 2-gate immortal, 2 gates plus robo with immortal production and stalker production will just manhandle a 4-gate. It's as long as you have a battery as well. Like the battery is a big part of this, so we'll see. I'll see kind of what the build looks like for you, and we'll see how, like, well, you know, I can give you some ideas on like what you can look at in an opponent that might make sense in an easy way. But it's really not that much about what your opponent's doing. It's really about if your build's just fluid, because your build should just crush 4 gates.
Got it.
All right, so first probe is rallied. That's totally good.
When I mineral stack, by the way, I'm not sure I do it correctly. I just try to put 3 probes on the close patches.
You say 3 probes?
I click 2.
Oh, you're talking about the split right now. Is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so you already, I would say this split doesn't exist. So if the split was going to happen, you have to, so like this is how the game would start. This is how, if you want to do like as high level of an initial start to the game as you can, the second the game is on the 3, 2, 1, you're like on 1, you're spam clicking Nexus. Just like, or like if you want to time it, click your Nexus as soon as 1 is over, because you cannot actually select the Nexus while the countdown is happening. So when the countdown's over, select the Nexus, immediately build a probe. Probe is always the priority, no matter what. And then you can green box either the top side or the bottom side. I would say the bottom side is easier because the horizontal probes are more spread. Like, it's just more, it's easier to grab the horizontal ones, I would say, over the vertical ones, if that makes sense. You could do both if you're really fast. But if you were going to do one over the other, I would say always go horizontal. And then just send them to the horizontal patches, because it just feels like it's less stacked the way the camera angle is set for the game. And then so it would be make probe, grab 2 or 3 probes, even like anywhere between 1, 2, 3 probes is totally good. Like that is just fine. I would say honestly, yeah, as long as it's less than 4. If you grab 4, it's starting to get a little excessive. But anywhere between 1 and 3 is like perfect. So if you just do 1, that's great. If you do 2, that's fine. 3 is also good. I would say there's nothing that's better or worse there. And the reason why is because you're not done setting up the mineral line when you do an initial split like this. So it doesn't matter if you get 1, 2, or 3. As long as you do one of those, if you want to do this at all, then that's good. The biggest thing of all, the reason why this is so important, here's the humongous thing, okay? This is the biggest thing of all. Why 1 is good, 2 is good, 3 is good, just at least 1 is good. If you click the close patch, like you can see where I'm selecting right now because you're watching my screen, which is fucking sick. I love Discord share screen. It's not a sponsor, by the way. I actually making it sound like it is a sponsor. So if you click 1 probe and you tell it to go to the mineral line, what it does is this probe will now make this harvester go 1 harvester out of 3. Or sorry, just not out of 3. It's just 1 harvester. So then, what's going to happen is all your other probes are going to initially go to these patches. That's just what happens. They always go to the middle. They don't go to their own patches. They have to always go to the middle, and then they work their way outwards. If you tell 1 to go here first, one of these other probes is going to go here, and then it's going to go across over to this patch, and it's going to perfectly line up to arrive as the first probe is turning minerals in. So you're going to have an immediate patch that is double stacked. And you're going to get that little boost of like 5 minerals right away. If you do 2, it's not that big of a deal. If you, it's fine, it's good, but it's not like, oh my god, it's huge. If you do 3, it's also fine, it's not that big of a deal, but there's no guarantee that this patch will be perfectly saturated based off the fact if you tell 3 to go here. And you should tell your probe, whatever you select, 1, 2, or 3, you should always tell them to go to that patch, because it's the fastest patch you're going to arrive to. So what you're gonna
Okay,
do is,
got it.
if
I never knew exactly what to do there.
yeah. So if I was gonna tell you how to do it perfectly, it would be like this. All your, like, you know, if you had a probe go there, that'd be fine. But now watch look how many probes are here. There's a lot of stacking going on these middle patches, and this is normal. Yeah. And now look at this patch. This patch currently has 2. This patch currently has 2. That's good. These patches automatically saturated themselves. But now these patches on the sides have 1. So what you want to do is, with the first probe that turns minerals in here, you don't tell it with the minerals in its hand to go here, but you go, hey probe, as soon as you touch this fucking nexus, you go there, and you that now have minerals in your hand go there. So I would be like this. Okay. This probe goes here right now, and you see how this probe's about to turn in. It would become the second probe for that stack, and this probe, same thing. So this probe would be going there. These two are paired together, and then this probe right here is on that patch. So this probe and that patch are currently paired together, and if I told this probe now to go to that patch, it would, like, see how this probe is just finishing and this probe could be just going towards it. It would double stack both of these patches, and then you have all 4 patches within the first 5 seconds perfectly saturated. So it just takes 1 click to go middle side, middle side.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So you did it either way. Like, you did not do an initial split, which is fine. That's like nice if you do it, but that's not the biggest thing of all. The biggest thing of all is literally what you just did. You actually did it great. So good shit.
Oh, good. I didn't know.
Okay, you did. Okay, I would say this though. You did it great initially, but then you did the 3 thing. The 3, you don't want to do 3 on a patch ever.
Okay.
So you, sorry, I just built you up there for a second, and you were so excited, and then I just fucking knocked you down.
Get me right down.
You're like, okay. But like right now, your patches are perfect. 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. You have 12 probes. All close patches have 2. All far patches have 1. That is fucking perfect. You just overdid it now, because now you try to do 3, 1, 3, 0, 0, 3, 1, 3, which is gonna now fuck up probes again. Because watch this probe right here. Watch this probe right here. Because you just told this probe to arrive now, and then now this patch has 3. This probe is now going to be like, let's go somewhere else. It's going to just be like, just chilling somewhere else. And same thing with the other probe over here that does it. That happened at the same time. So like right now it's perfect again. They fix themselves again, and they're perfect again. Now you did 3 on that patch again, so now this probe's going to get fucked up. It's going to go down there, and now it actually perfectly saturated itself. That was nice. It was good recovery for that 1 probe. And so on and so on. Anyways, just keep in mind, double stack close patches first, the currently selected patches, and then double stack far patches after. Never triple stack a patch if you're trying to stack a patch. Like, triple stacking is bad. The final piece of information about that before we move on. A double stacked mineral patch, whether or not it's a close patch or a far patch, has 100% efficiency. A 3 stacked patch, though, has about 50% efficiency for that 3rd probe on a far patch, and it has about like 20% efficiency for a probe on the close patch. It's bad. It's not 100% efficiency anymore. It's bad efficiency. Like the reason why I say that is because if it takes a probe let's just throw an example out there for a number for people to understand. If it takes 1 second for a probe to mine minerals, well, it has to wait like half a second now to mine a far patch, and then it can do its job, and it has to wait like 0.8 out of a second, like 0.8 of a second to mine a close patch. Like, it has to wait for a while to do it, so never ever triple stack. It's bad efficiency.
And 4 is completely inefficient.
Yeah, 4 is literally 0. It's just fucking 0. Like, it literally, you could take the probe off the patch and it would change nothing, because you would have the 1 probe could just be like, excuse me, wait, excuse me, I'm trying to get to the mineral patch, excuse me, and every probe is like, nope, sorry dude, we're just constantly mining it and you can't do anything. And it's like, okay, I'll just wait till the patch is gone then. Like, it won't ever do anything. Okay, so look at that really fast. Let's look at your pylon. So I want to watch your build now.
Okay.
Okay, so you built the probe at 1 second into the game. That's not bad. 1 second is, I would say, acceptable. If you can build it within 0 seconds of the game starting, that's fucking amazing. That means you like selected it like super fast. But 1 second is totally okay. If your first probe pops out of the Nexus though at 14 or beyond, every second that happens is a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. Like if your probe's popping
Okay.
out at 16 seconds, that's fucking rough. And so on, you know what I mean? But 13's like, it's like you hit the green, that's good still. If you hit 12, that's like fucking flawless perfect. But like 13's still good. That's still in the realm of good.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I put my Nexus on a hotkey and camera hotkey first, and I
Yeah,
should never
definitely
do that,
don't
I
do
guess.
that. Do that while you're waiting for the probe to build. Like literally, you know what you should do? Do that after you build the probe and after you fix your double stack patches, and then do the hotkey stuff.
Got it.
Okay, yeah, your pylon's in at 37. You now have 155. You have another probe started. This is good. So your gateway could go down at 38, and your gateway goes down at 41. So your gateway is just a couple seconds late. Not the hugest deal. I would say that's like a okay, not terrible. Definitely not good because it could have been faster, but not terrible. It's still respectable right now.
I'll write down 38 is ideal for gateway.
Well, keep this in mind, okay? Just know this. It's not always about the seconds of every game being identical. The reason why this game was like 38 would have been decent for you. Could have been faster though, even than 38. And here's why: you stacked your close patches, which is going to increase that timer. It's going to make it go faster. But then you fucked up with the triple stack, and that's going to make it go down because you wasted some mining time there. So if you have if it's like flawless mining, maybe your gateway is going to go down at like 35, 36, like for like epitome of like the fastest gateway ever. So I wouldn't really stress too hard about the exact second the gateway goes down on each game individually. It's more about based on how well you've saturated your patches, as long as you have probe 16 in the Nexus, so you have another probe started after you're no longer supply blocked, and then so your pylon's done, probe is already started, just one probe is already started, and the second you have 150, you make the gateway. So you're like trying to make the gateway, like you're literally in the build of where's your probe at? You're like trying to build a gateway at like 130. You're like, come on, or hitting the hotkey G, whatever you want to do. And you're like, you can literally hit the hotkey for it, and you have your mouse already right here because you know where to build it. So like 130, you're already doing it because you have nothing else to do right now. And within 1 second of that, you hit G, gateway's ready to go, and you fucking, build it, and now you're good. Makes sense? That's what you just want to be like trying to build it before you have it.
Yep.
Instead of like, if you're the guy who, for instance, like you hit 160 and you're like, all right, let me click it now, and then click it, and then click it like there, and you're just moving your mouse all over the place. That's the kind of shit that'll slow you down. So it's a huge tip right there. Like have your mouse in the area. Like if you think about where the gateway is gonna go, have your mouse in the center of where it wants to build, and that the gateway will literally build like that if your mouse is literally right here. So, and then you could even like do a quick check for it once the gateway's in your hand. Just like quickly go once to the left, once to the right, or whatever. Or if you have a build grid, that's totally fine as well. Just so you know you're putting it in the right spot. It'll only take you like half a second to check the gateway to make sure it's correct. And once you like get really good at it, you won't even have to check anymore. You'll just fucking know. And then you just get the gateway down ASAP. And that is what will save you time every game rather than worrying about the second. Because the second will change sometimes if you fuck your rolls up at all. Okay. So you're getting to his base, and you see a gateway and a pylon. And if you look at the gateway and the pylon, it's the same as yours. Not same location, but same build time. So you know he opened up gateway. You see one gas. Here's a big deal. You see no chrono. That's a big deal. You see chrono.
Aha.
So anyone who saves chrono is not making probes. That's a big, like if this is not something you have to pay attention to a whole lot in Gold League, but I would say this is already an indicator that this dude is not going to expand.
No, that's very helpful. I never.
Yeah, no worries. And then he's got a core and a second pylon actually before he makes another gateway. Interesting. You have a nexus, so you can see he already is also prioritizing the core. This also tells you he's doing these buildings before he even expands. That's another sign of aggression. Because he's
I think you just cut out.
Sorry, saying he's prioritizing the core, which is another sign of aggression. Because you expanded, and you saw him throw this down as you expanded. So you're like, okay, well you already have a core super fast now, and I have a nexus. And you're still, obviously you're taking a core too, but he went core first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're now. I'm gonna go back and look at your build order, make sure it's not fucked up. The order of what you built is correct, but let's look at your probe for a second here. So, you rally at 19. This is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, well you have one probe off too, though. Check this out. So, you have. You just sent out your Gateway Scout probe, which is fine. I'm okay with it. You built a gas. Your gas is fine. But then you rally the Nexus onto the gas, or do you? No, you didn't. But you pulled one off to go to the gas somewhere. What the hell's one of your probes? But you have fucking 16 probes here. I think you accidentally made a probe follow a probe. Where is this happening at? Where is this probe not mining? No, it's this probe right here. It's this dude's not. He's on stop command. You just misclicked the patch.
Aha.
I was like, where the fuck is one of your probes? So your build's actually correct. It was just a misclick. This probe should be mining minerals. I won't harp on you about this. This is a simple mistake.
Okay.
Like, you have just as long as I know you understand the idea of the concept of like what you're supposed to do. So you're not ripping probes off early. That's totally fine. I'm not going to get on your ass about that. So you have the right idea. Okay, and you take a 19 probe. This is correct. And you fix the probe eventually, which is good. Okay, your probe's going down. Now this should be the priority once again. So like right now, even though you're scouting into his base, and I assume you're looking right at it. This should not be the priority right now. Like this, all you needed to know in the scout was at like 119 or like 118, which is right here. The second you saw that, immediately you don't have to like figure anything out anymore. And the reason why, like you could still like, go into his base deeper, but this is already like a checkpoint of scout, because this tells you would automatically know what he's doing. This dude's going for a 1 gate opener, which could be 1 gate into a nexus. It could be 1 gate into a second gate. It could be it could 1 gate into fast core. But the fact that he showed you a gate to your gate, his gate's even like this. I'm talking about too. Like see how his gateway is just slightly faster. His is at 40 seconds. Yours is at 37. Like that's why I was saying like your gateway should need to go down just a little bit quicker. But either way, you know his gateway was made the same as yours. You guys both went pylon gate, and also it's defensive. Currently, it's at his base. This is all you need to know right now. You don't need to like stare at his base the whole time. This is the misconception of like every player in this game that is unsure about scouting. So because like this tells you exactly what's going on for now, and what you need to do, what really is the priority, is you should immediately be looking at this probe right now. Like you can send this probe here to like up where it is. That's fine. But this probe needs to be going like anywhere in this range. It needs to be anywhere in that box. And you need to be going like this. Hitting like your mouse is here. This probe is selected. The mouse is here, and you're going in. Like you're hitting the hotkey in for Nexus, and you're just spamming it, being like, "Give me that Nexus as fast as possible." Because watch what happens with your Nexus now. I saw your Nexus was a little delayed. Your Nexus could go down at 125, and you throw it down at 129, which is not that bad. Again, not that bad. Just like the gateway, not that bad. But these are little things that you could definitely improve on. I'm not gonna say they're like, oh my god, this is game ending for you. Not that bad. It's another like okay, not good, but okay range here. Just because I feel like this is kind of like bad habit. Because I think you just stuck your probe, your eyes on your probe for way too long because you were just kind of OCD about what you were looking at. And you can definitely look at his base more over time, but there are things you'll learn, or like once you get better and better with scouting, there are triggers that will just tell you, okay, that's it. That's all I need to know right there. That gateway rules out proxy gates. That rules out Nexus First. That rules out Cannon Rush. Basically, like all these weird things that it could be. It starts It doesn't mean it doesn't have to be like any build beyond this. It could definitely become anything after this. But for the start of the game, for what you needed to see to make sure that this was okay, that gateway proves that, yep, it's okay. We're not getting weirdly cheesed in certain ways. Does it make sense? Does it feel good, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The Nexus should definitely take priority. I get that.
Because it's just like that just assumes standard build to start, and then you can then elaborate further in his base and go Nexus Energy or 1 gas or whatever he's gonna do.
Okay. So maybe take a quick glance, make sure the Nexus is built, and then I can go back if I need to look at his base.
I would say honestly, with this scout you just did, you don't even need to ever go back again.
Okay.
Like the one scout after the gate, that is really all you needed to know. That's it. Anything else after that's fine, but your build should be just, if your build is pumped, it's like just everything flowing at every second that's possibly ready to go, everything's good to go. It won't really matter as much. I'll take one more peek now at your core and see when you built the core. So you have 20 worker, which is good. You stop. This is perfect. You make the Nexus. I love it. But you see, look what's going to happen as well. Because your Nexus was delayed, it's going to now also indirectly delay your core. Because your probe has to now arrive at a later time. So your core should be going down. Well, let's go to the exact second the core could go down. So the probe is heading up there already with 80 minerals in the bank, but it should have been 0. Or like 10 or something. And also be careful about when you build the Nexus too. Here's another tip. If your probe, if you were like on it and you were like probe, make the Nexus, and you started it like the second it arrived, or like, you know, you were like, let's say your probe made it from anywhere from this portion of the Nexus, or anywhere from like the top right of the green box to now the bottom left, okay? The probe would build the Nexus and be pushed outwards on this way, which saves you time. You actually waited to make the Nexus for a while, so if you watch your probe, like, I'll speak it here, I guess, for a second, just to make sure you're like you fully know what I mean. Probe right now is good, bad. The reason why is because if it's anywhere below where it is now, okay, anywhere in this green box, it will pop out of the Nexus on the bottom left side of the Nexus. Like, it'll be pushed down, or it'll be pushed to the left, or it'll be pushed down to the bottom left. Which means, where do you want to go to build your next building? You want to go to the bottom left and go up your ramp. So it saves you time, but if you go too far to the top right, if your probe gets shoved to top right, this adds an extra detour on your probe having to now go around the Nexus, which is like an extra like 4 seconds. So when you like, see how it kind of went a little bit further towards the middle? Like, again, this is not that bad though if you built it right away. If you built it right now, it would just add like 2 seconds or so to the travel time for the probe to get out, or maybe 3 seconds. And you would still make it here on time, but if you waste any time at all now, like you are here, and you wait, 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 and now you build it, now your probe gets shoved to the top right, it just adds time that your probe's going to be late now to build the core, and now, again, let's watch the core. Core could go down at 135, and the core goes down for real at 138. So again, not the end of the world. It's okay. It's again, once again, it's in the realm of okay. Not worst, not the worst, but it's just making sure you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go too hard on it. You're actually doing okay, despite the fact that you've had a few fuck ups here, or like things that look weird. But it's still okay. It's not bad. It's not.
This is very helpful because I mean, my problem is getting all in, and I have to perfect this.
No, for sure. That's why I'm kind of stressing on it so hard. Okay, and now you can rally to the natural. You just did. You chrono boost set at a stalker. Now the second your first probe arrives with probe 20, this is probe 23 essentially. Like, you have a scouting probe kind of chasing, so he's kind of actually probe 24. I think you were afraid of a cannon rush, and you got to realize that cannon rush is not going to happen when you saw that, and we saw that. Like, this already tells you probably not a cannon rush, because if this was a cannon rush, that gateway would not be there. That gateway would be there if it existed or something. It would be proxied. Okay. And then the fact that you saw gas as well means chances of cannon rush is very low, because this dude could not afford cannons very well right now. Like, even if it was a cannon rush, you could just make stalkers and kill it at this point. So probe, essentially what I'm trying to say is probe 23, the first probe that goes towards a natural, should be the probe that builds a pylon. So this probe should be building a pylon. And I would say, because you saw core before Nexus, like, you didn't see the biggest thing of all is you didn't see a Nexus around the same time you built a Nexus. Like, you built a Nexus while your probe is like there in his base. So as you arrive into his base, you start going in. You're like, Nexus started, and if you go like this, if you're like, all right, let's take a big lap around the base and let's leave. And as you're here leaving his base, if he still doesn't have a Nexus and your Nexus is at like, you know, like 40% of the way done, I would be like, dude, make a fucking battery right away. Like,
Okay.
you make a pylon and you make a battery, and that one scout gives you all the information you need. Because you're like, okay, well, this dude seems like he does not want to expand. So if the pylon does not start right now, you're going to have just a super late battery that will probably not be done in time. Okay, you make it a sentry. See how there's no pylon. We'll see where your third pylon goes, but the pylon could be done by now, and you can start a battery now too. Like while
I
you start
usually
the
don't.
robo. What's up? Sorry.
I usually wait till I build the extra gate and the robo before I start the third pylon.
Build the third pylon the second your probe gets to your natural. Honestly,
Okay.
it's not really going to slow down your gateway and your robo very much at all, because the main thing that you're kind of having a point of waiting on here is your gas. Because to be fair, the gateway and the robo should be going down together. The fact that you have a second gateway going down early is not as good as, in my opinion, as
Okay.
if you like, the battery would be more useful than the second gate being like at this pace. Like if you put them down together, the robo and the gate will finish identically at the same time. They have the same exact build time. And what'll happen too is if you put them down at the same time, your warp gate upgrade will be very close to finishing when your gateway is done.
Okay.
So, generally speaking, if you see like a nexus, you could still take a battery just to be safe, and that's fine. But it's not gonna probably make or break the game for you. But if you see no gateway, or sorry, if you see no nexus at all as you leave his base, you definitely want a fucking battery ASAP.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're making probes, which is fine. You're about to make a unit, I imagine. You actually double stack the probes here. It's all good. You're chrono boosting. You are triple stacking the probes. Be careful about that. Okay, we're back to double stack. And we got a stalker started. Stalker started. Good shit. Making probes. Production.
I actually think I could have handled this, but I didn't.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I think, yeah, if I had had a battery, it would have been totally different.
100% think you would have held this with a battery. Battery is so fucking strong in PvP, in every matchup. Now watch your immortal. Here's the crazy thing, right? Because you took this gateway so fast, you will get one stalker out faster than the warp gate will be done. But look at your warp gate; it's almost done, right?
Yeah.
And in general, if your stalker, let me give you a little tip here. If your stalker is 9 seconds or less in build time, like or basically 10 seconds or less, it's exactly 10 seconds or less, you will fucking want to cancel it, or more or less, okay? And the reason why is because a gateway, a warp gate, has like, it's like a 3 second like rotational thing where it's like gateway to warp gate, and then it's about 7 seconds off of every warp in of a stalker. So you're gonna say, like, if your stalker was less than 10 seconds in production, it is actually worth it to cancel it, to then let it just become a warp gate faster, and then make warped in stalkers, because the cooldown goes down every time you make a stalker after that. And so that means the stalker's build time overall, if it's 10 seconds or less, there's a discrepancy of 20 seconds there now for the rest of it, and your warp gate is less than 20 seconds from being done. And at this point, when your robo's done, so you'd be better off just letting your getting the general way it goes is your first gateway pumps out roughly about 3 units, and then your robo and your second gateway finish close to that time of when your third unit is ready to pop out. Like, it might be a few seconds here, a few seconds there, whatever, based on like how efficient your building time was. But in general, you start an immortal first. As soon as your robo's done, that's priority. And then your warp gate finishes, and your 2 gateways now are idle for just a moment, and then your warp gate finishes, and you double stalker it with double warp gate. And the crazy, beautiful thing about that as well is the second your warp gate's done as well, you don't have to wait the whole time. It just spawns immediately, and the build time is actually the cooldown for another stalker. So it's an immediate unit, right? So if you double gateway like this, your robo's going to be super delayed. So watch, it finishes at 340. And look at how long it doesn't build something. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm here in the shadows.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this would save you so fucking hard.
Research
And yeah, and then I just lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second gate and the robo should go at the same time. For some reason I was trying to get the second gate out earlier. I thought that was an advantage, but I would guess it's not.
Well, the thing is here's the crazy thing. You have, as he's attacking you, you have, this is what one gate represents right here. This is what one gate represents for sure. Now let's look at your gateways really fast and your warp gate. Okay. So now you have the you know, you wouldn't, I would say this right now, you would not have had an immortal out yet. The immortal's build time is 39 seconds. And we said 340 was when it was done. So it would be, right now, it would be 18 seconds to production. So it would be about halfway done, a little bit less than halfway. And what you could do right now is you'd have a battery, ideally that would be done again because we saw no Nexus. So you'd have an initial battery right now to stall with 3 stalkers, and your warp gates will be finishing. You'd have, you'd have 2 stalkers and a probe, or Jesus, 2 stalkers and a sentry with a battery to fight off his units. What you could do is you could pull your probes. If you're like, oh fuck, that's scary, pull your probes for a second. You don't have to chase him all the way to die or anything like that. You just pull him to where if he stays there, your probes like take some of the hit. And the reason why that would be important is because he's all-inning you right now. And you don't have access to a battery right now because you just chrono boosted. So you don't have 50 energy. So what you'd want to do is again, the initial battery saves you from units dying. It heals through it, but it will run out of energy somewhat soon. You pull the probes. Your immortal's almost done. It's like almost halfway done. Your warp gates are finishing. Probes pull. As soon as warp gates are done in a couple seconds, you warp in new stalkers, and then you stay near the battery, and then suddenly, not too much time has passed. It's like, you know, 10 seconds goes by or so, and suddenly you have enough energy for a battery overcharge, and then you can, you know, pull the probes back, and you might lose like 4, 5, 6 probes. But guess what? He doesn't even have a natural, and you can also tell, by the way. This is another comparison. This is where people that watch StarCraft, like this happens to me every day when I stream. They're like, "Do you know what he's doing right now? Like, what's he doing right now? That you never scouted." Let's just say all I went off of was he has no Nexus when I did, and I go, okay, make an early battery, and then I see fucking this, and they're like, well, you didn't scout. What is he doing? He could be doing all these things to you, and I'm like, no, I know what he's doing because guess what I have? I have 2 fucking stalkers and a sentry, and this dude has 7 stalkers and a zealot. This is a lot more stalkers than I have right now, which guarantees this dude opened up multi-gateway right off the bat. Guarantees it. So if you know that, if you can look at this and go, okay, cool, that's a lot of fucking stalkers. It does not matter if you lose even half or all of this mineral line. It doesn't matter. Because if you lose probes and he loses units in the process of killing your probes because your units are shooting over your probes, and then you get to a point where you balance out with immortals, stalkers, and a battery, and you keep making probes. Like, again, the B2GM rule is you just keep making probes. So even though you're losing probes, you're still making probes. You get to a point where you will still have a fully saturated 2 base while he's 1 base owning you and he can't break you anymore. So losing probes here is totally acceptable. It's just you don't have a battery, which really sucks.
Yeah.
Technology research.
So if you don't pull probes at all here as well,
this
this is a massive blunder. Yeah, you could honestly, you still could have won this game. You just didn't use your probes at all, though. Like the battery would have helped a lot. It really would have. But you still could have won this if you just pulled the probes and let your stalkers go behind your probes. Because if he's on a move, if he doesn't have micro god techniques here, and he's not like fucking parting essentially, most likely what he's gonna do is he's gonna stutter step backwards and he's gonna a move, stutter step, a move, stutter step, a move. So he's gonna walk backwards, a move, walk backwards, a move, the ground, and his stalkers are gonna hit your probes. Because the way AI works in StarCraft is AI will always auto-attack the closest thing to it. Like, if I walk backwards and I A-move the ground, and your probes are 1 range away from my stalkers, whereas the stalkers are 5 range away from my stalkers, I'm going to always shoot your probes first. So, and what that does, every time I stop to shoot, the stalkers that are also chasing will shoot. So you're just peppering damage into his units as he runs away. And if you chase them all the way back to, like, right here, you could be like, okay, let's turn back around now again and go back to my mineral line. Just right-click all my units back to the mineral line. And then he chases you back.
Mhm.
And if you're still not ready and your mortal's not out yet and your stalker's not out yet, your next round or whatever, green box your probes and be like, hey, probes, go attack him again. Just to be like back and forth. Literally, just do it over and over and over until you're like, cool, we're ready now. Because every time you fight like that, you will lose probes. But who gives a fuck if you lose probes if he doesn't even have an expansion? Because you can use them as like meat shields that just absorb for a little bit. And you will outproduce him with better units. Like once you have an immortal out here, this immortal, if you fought this many stalkers with an immortal, this immortal would take out like 3 stalkers before it would die just by itself, which is it's a trade that is in benefit of the immortal. It's like less supply and less resources invested into that to kill more of what's here. And if you have a battery there, I legit think a battery with overcharge, 1 immortal could beat 7 stalkers. You would actually win this fight outright if you had an immortal out right here. So that would be the immortal would come out after like your first pushback and fallback type thing.
Okay.
But yeah, how you feel? Make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. And this is great because I know that once I defeat this, the game is mine essentially. If he hasn't expanded, my game to win.
No, 100%. Yeah. Like I just want you to know, even if you lost every probe at this expansion, if every probe died, you would still be ahead.
Okay.
And the reason why is because you are producing out of that bad boy, and he is producing out of that. You have higher tech, and your tech is more resource efficient. It just takes longer to get it, and he is not investing into that tech at all. He's investing into just all-inning you with gates.
Yep. No, this is great because like the beginning of the game is so damn important, and I can save probably like 10 seconds by some of these tips.
Yeah, it would help a lot.
I don't have time to play a game, so
no, you do.
I have like 4 questions.
No, we can do it. We can do it. Honestly, I could run you through it really fast. Just make sure you're like, we'll just do this. I'll have you play an AI. And don't worry, I'm not like a stickler where I'm like it has to be on the minute. Like I made you wait for like 7 minutes. You're totally fine. I'm sorry. You're good. We're chilling here. It's all good. Okay. I'll make a game for you really quick. So now hop on to Battle.net or send me a message. I can tell you how to do that process again if you don't know how to do it.
Oh yeah, I definitely. All right, I'm going on Battle.net right now.
Okay. So let me know when you're on, and I'll tell you how to message me. And yeah, I'll have you do a quick AI game, and I'll just run you through the build yourself and make sure, because you have it down pretty well. It's just making sure you're doing that thing where like you're hitting the hotkey, right? Where you're like trying to build it like the second you can every time. Because I think that's something you're not doing, and that would help a lot if you did that.
Okay, I'm on.
Okay, so top right, left click your avatar portrait. Then now in your profile where it says ladders in middle left, hit that. Same spot, hit Grandmaster. It'll open up the Grandmaster ladder list. Scroll down to rank 122, and you can then right click me and send me a message.
Hi. You've been playing Zerg.
Yep. A little bit Zerg. Alright, zigzag. Okay, I just exited the streaming thing as well. Okay, now I'll make myself a spectator. Give you an AI. And I'll make it Protoss as well, whatever. And yeah, I'll just do the build, the B2GM style build, and we'll make sure it looks good. And yeah, you'll be good to go. And then you'll still have time to ask questions as well. Don't feel like you can't do that still. We can still talk about stuff afterwards.
You're the man, ViBE.
Yeah, well, no worries. Thank you, dude. And we'll just do this until you get to the point where it's like you start your first immortal, essentially.
Okay.
So make that probe. Now fix your mineral line.
This is what I usually do. I do that.
Okay, so one of them's still fucked up, so you gotta do it again whenever you get a second. But probe now, pylon's priority. Pylon's priority for sure.
More minerals required.
Okay.
Mineral quantity.
Value that next spec.
Is any other probe out there or not?
I would say no.
Okay.
Because it's gonna wait for a while. You could have gotten like a bonus. Like now it's fine because it's kind of too late. But you could definitely make that probe that you just have sitting there. That could have mined probably 1 full round of minerals before I just sat there instead. Now make
Kind of like messing it up.
No, I know you're doing it live. It's a lot more confusing. You don't have a probe you can build and the Chrono Boost is on. It's totally fine. You have the right idea. With the replay we just went through, definitely give you a thorough breakdown of it there.
Yeah.
Here's one tip. Actually, I'm gonna just teach you something rather than talking about this.
Okay.
Because I feel like the build's already kind of fucked up as it is. I'm gonna teach you the way mineral mining works. What I want you to do is green box all your probes and stop them or like move them out of the mineral line. Just like to like the left of the gas or something. Now what I want you to do is I want you to quickly tell a probe to mine the closest patch, just one probe, and then right away, right after, tell another one to mine it. So like tell two almost to mine it. Okay, now that time, notice how they both mine it.
Yep.
They're both mining it, which is nice. That means the way you timed that was legit perfect. Okay, like it was. I'm not gonna say you did it on purpose, but it was perfect. Now I want you to take two probes, and I want you to have them both mine a different patch. Just have two probes selected at the same time.
Okay.
Just any patch, it doesn't matter. Now watch how one probe's gonna move. See how it changes? Now I want you to select one probe, and I want you to walk over to those two probes that are mining by themselves. So like the two patches that have one probe each. Just tell one probe to go really close over there. And I want you to right-click the patch as soon as the probe touches it. And still keeps this probe selected. So right-click the patch like right now even. Notice how it moves? Now stop it.
Yeah.
You can tell it to stop mining minerals. Okay, alright. Tell it to turn it in really fast. So you have no minerals in your hand. Now, wait. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to grab like 5 more probes and have them all go mine open patches. So just make all the patches that have 0, make them all have at least 1. So just grab like 5 or 6 probes and say any patch, just mine it. So they all come over and start mining shit. So and now I'm going to teach you something about mining here. Okay, so one more probe for the patch that's okay. There you go. It automatically switched itself. Okay. Now, if a probe gets to a patch, and it's with like you remember how I was talking about the efficiency thing?
Yeah.
If a probe is within the first like half second or like 1/3 of the second that it's going to be mining the minerals for, if you tell another probe to mine within that realm of time, it will not stay on that patch. It will move to a different one. So the way you cannot always exactly set it up every game perfectly to be like, okay, you go here, you go there, perfect every time. It's not always going to be like that because there's a little bit of RNG with mineral splitting. So what I want you to do is I want you to have that probe that you have selected. I want you to spam right-click that patch, like that's like one of the close patches above it. As soon as the probe arrives, the probe that's already mining, as soon as it like touches the patch to mine a new mineral patch, the one you have selected right now, right-click that patch as well as it arrives. Does that make sense? And I want you to spam right-click it until like half a second goes by and then stop doing it. So like do it like on the, like if we're talking about the patch, like we'll just talk about the very, very top right one, okay? Just to make it easy to explain. Look at the very top right one.
Okay.
I want you to spam right-click it for half a second right, like now. And then you'd stop. Okay, so not anymore. You're too far away. Stop it. Okay, do a different probe. Or,
Do it again.
yeah. Like, get it closer to the patch. Like, really close to the patch, but don't mind it. There you go. Now, it would be like... What I'm trying to say is when the probe that's already mining it, as soon as it arrives and starts mining, you want your other probe to start mining then too. But I want you to spam click it for like half a second. So your probe doesn't go, oh, it's already being mined. Let's walk away. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah.
So like right now. And you see how it was going to move away and you clicked it again. The second it stops trying to move away, you're done. So it's only when it's, okay, so it's also, you don't have to do it when it already has minerals. Basically, let me say it like this. Grab it again and try again. Like, there you go. Now, get it really close. Notice how every time you click it, it's going to try to move somewhere else. But the second you click it and it stops trying to move somewhere else, it's perfect. And it will fix itself then. So, don't spam click it this time. I want you to click like every maybe like a third of a second. So click, click, click. And you'll see the difference. Like right when the probe arrives, try it. So click, click, click. And you'll see move, move, and it'll stop moving after the third time. See how it stops moving? Now it's good. Now you don't have to touch it anymore. So you have to always, that's how you perfectly saturate it. And you have, like, you'll get the feeling for it, but it's about, like, less than half. When it's, like, about a third to, like, halfway through the probe's mining of when it first arrives, if your other probe is told to mine it in that realm of time, it will move to a different patch. But if you click it one more time after that threshold of time, it will stay there and continue to mine minerals. So you can try it again right now and see what I mean if you want to. And like right now, see, it's going to mine perfectly because you did it right after the threshold. But if you do it right when the probe arrives, that's the threshold where like right now. Oh, you click the gas?
I'll do it one more time.
Okay. So we're like right now, it moves, and you do it again, and it's good. And now you don't. If it's ever like that too, where it's on the back, don't have to worry about it. It'll fix itself. It'll be past the threshold, and now it's good already. As long as it's touching the patch, and it starts running as soon as the other one leaves, you're fine. Okay, now kill this computer. Kill this 4-gate. No, I'm just joking, dude. Yeah, just leave the game.
So just to go over, like at the beginning, I want to pull 2 probes from either side and put them on the closest patch at either side of the nexus.
Yeah,
right?
you want to do probes from the middle always, because the middle is always the far patches. And you want them to go to the far patches on the sides of the nexus, because those are the close patches. Again, close patches will always have a higher mineral count. Close patches always have 1,800, and far patches always have 900. That's how it is. Every map is like that. So if you're like, which one is a close, which one's a far? If you just click the patch, it'll literally say 1,800 or 900. And if it's 900, it means it's physically far. It's further away, so it's worse to mine as a double stack.
Got it.
But does that make sense with how like the timing of how the probe AI works?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does make sense. Okay. So, but since 2 probes can mine a patch, why would a probe move away from a single patch?
Because, okay, so if there is no probe on a patch at all, and there's 0, if the probe even has 1% overlap, even 1% overlap, it'll be like, AI will say, go mine the 0 patch. Huh. And now, if there is an overlap that is more than 30%, the probe will say, go mine a patch that doesn't have more than 30%. So, for instance, look at the stream really fast. Look at the stream really fast, okay? I'll show you something in Paint really fast. I think this will make more sense if you have like a visual. If this bar I'm making right here represents the completion of the probe's mining, okay? So like at the top of this right here, this top right here.
Where are you?
Go to my stream really fast. Like look at my stream because I'm showing you something in Paint. So if this bar right here represents 100% complete on this side, you know, okay, I'm gonna make it like green or something. If that represents 100% complete, so what this means is the probe starts mining here, and it finishes mining here. Okay, like this represents the amount of time it takes for the probe to mine the whole patch. If another probe arrives, also I can get rid of that shit. I don't need that thing there. Pretend I didn't draw that. If another probe arrives in the threshold of this right here, about there, okay? So this represents probe number 1. Okay, the big green thing represents probe number 1. If probe number 2 arrives anywhere in the red, probe number 2 will go to the patch and go, oh, the probe mining of the current probe is on the patch right now is right there. So now I'm going to go to a patch of a probe who's currently right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it like resets over and over and over and over. Every time it touches the patch, it does this. If your probe arrives anywhere red or below, so there, anywhere in that range, the probe that arrives will always leave and go to a new patch. Even if there's 1 on every patch. It'll just say, oh look, just over there to the right, on 2 patches to the right, there's a probe that's currently there, so let's mine that one instead, because the probe I just tried to touch is right there. That's how it works for all probes. So if you tell a probe from the middle of the mineral line to go to the sides of the mineral line, and one of the so like you're saying on patches that are like, you know, like this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you tell this probe right here, if you're like, hey, probe right there, I want you to go mine that patch. And probe right here, I want you to go mine that patch. If the probe that you select right here, this probe goes this way. And as it arrives to this patch, the probe that's already on it is only in the threshold of this. That probe that you just told to go there will now be like, oh, okay, well, guess what? There's a fucking patch right there. There's a patch right here that has a probe. As soon as every time you touch the patch, that's when it registers with the worker. And it goes, oh, well, as soon as I touch this patch, it's that black bar threshold in the red. But as soon as AI read that, it read another probe to the right was in a threshold of this right here. And you know what's crazy? If another probe also recognizes that from somewhere else as well, And let's just say, hypothetically, the probe goes back to the Nexus, and then it comes back again right after. And now when this probe over here that was supposed to go to it goes to that patch, if this patch once again is in the threshold of the red, it will once again go, well, where's another patch that has a green one? Oh, this patch over here on this side is in the fucking green, and that one is there, so let's go there. That's how it always works for probes. If you're in the red, it goes to a new patch. It goes to one that's in the green. So here's the thing, though. Here's how you fix all of this. If you have a probe, like again, if your probe that you select initially goes like this one right here, again, this one right here, if this probe goes down right here, and as it arrives, it's right there. The first probe that's mining is in the red. It's a threshold. All you gotta do is right-click this patch again, about 1/4 of a second again after, to now get it to like right there, and now it'll stay there, and it'll mine that patch perfectly.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, cool. Okay.
Okay.
Question time.
All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for everything so far.
Yeah, no worries.
So I've just 4 questions. So number one, how many observers should I have? I always make one immediately after the immortal, but I don't want to waste immortal production time by making too many observers. So should I have more than one to scout for like Terran drops or any kind of machinations or
That
whatever?
happens later on, honestly. That's something you'll add in once you're like Diamond Plus. And for now, in Gold League, it's legit 1 until you basically are maxed out. And then if you ever run into the problem of going, my army feels like it keeps dying to cloak stuff, make like 4. Literally, just go up to like 4, and then just have that as part of your army. So 1 always, unless enemy has cloak units, and then make 4. But by then, it's going to be like you're already maxed, so it's not like you're prioritizing observers over immortals. Does that make, you know what I mean? Because like,
right, cool.
yeah, okay.
Yep, got it. All right. Here's another question. Always, of course, I make my sentry for scouting, but how many sentries, if more than one, should I have at attack time for the sake of either force? Forget about force fields because it's micro, but just for the sake of Guardian Shield, how
2.
many sentries
I would say
would
2.
you say?
2 sentries for Guardian Shield would be fine. Yeah. If you want to do force field, anywhere up to upwards of around 8 would be fine, like 5 to 8. But if you want to just use Guardian Shield only, 2 is more than enough.
All right. And this will be my last question.
Sure.
So I do the B2GM build, but I noticed that like there's kind of an option between doing upgrade stuff, 2 Forges Twilight, once your 4th base is started versus once your 3rd base is fully saturated. So should I go a little bit early in the upgrades right before the 4th base is started to get close to the 2-2, or should I just wait till the 4th base is started?
I would say do it after the 4th is started, because the faster you take upgrades, the more pressure it puts on you to do a proper timing. And B2GM is not about doing a proper timing attack. It's about having proper macro. And all this would do is speed up your macro and make you max faster. But it's like, for instance, let me give an example of what I mean. And this will probably make sense. At higher level leagues, like Masters, if you're going to do an attack that revolves around 1-1, and you do an attack 17 seconds before your upgrade's finished, so that this, like, let's say the fight starts 17 seconds before, and the fight is midway through 9 seconds until your upgrade's over, and then the fight's mostly over, and then you hear, upgrade complete. And you're like, okay, well, that was a fucking terrible time to take that fight. That was an anti-timing. Why did I go for the upgrade and then fight right before it? That's higher level shit that you should not worry about right now. So, for instance, if that happened to you in Gold League, that would be fine. It's not even something you should think about. So, yeah, prioritize macro, I would say. Oh, what's up? Sorry.
Okay, very. This is my real last question.
Sure.
Then I'm totally done.
Okay.
Now, like, I know the B2GM build, it's always expanding, and I know I shouldn't scout too much at high gold because I'm high gold, but is it better to just expand and then cancel it? Like, if I scout and like a Zerg is just staying for some weird reason on 2 bases, or a Tosser, Terran, or whatever. Like, if I see that they're not expanding, should I expand anyway?
What I want you to do, yeah, this is called big dick moves here. What I want you to do, expand regardless. Literally just expand. And if your opponent uses that expansion as a window to now take a timing, so be it. You could always cancel it if that happens. But when you expand like that, you force your opponent to feel uneasy. And if they don't do anything about it, well, now you have an expansion. And if they do something about it, it's actually better for you to go, I'm just macroing B2GM style. I'm cranking out units like crazy. And your opponent's like, good fucking God, my opponent has a 4th base? All in. And you just go, oh, okay, let's cancel the 4th base and let's just defend my 3rd or my natural or whatever. It's 100% worth it to just expand on time. Do not be the guy that gets bullied by your opponent's playstyle. Be the guy who bullies your opponent with your playstyle. It's so much better to play that way. Because when you're the guy who gets bullied,
super helpful. I never felt comfortable.
well, if you're the guy that gets in your own head way too much because of what your opponent's doing, you do shit where you're like, that's when you get like, let's just say like both of you are doing B2GM and you're a Protoss player that's like, all right, I'm gonna go for a 4th now at this time. And then your opponent is a Zerg player who's trying to do B2GM, and he goes, holy shit, my opponent has a 4th base before I do. What the fuck? Because maybe he's not doing it as efficient as you are. And then he's like, you know what? Time to stop. Just make fucking hydras and roaches. I am not going for a 4th base. He attacks you. He bleeds out his army on your army. And then you just out-macro him because you have a 4th and he doesn't. And it's like, okay, well, neither one of us is really microing very much here. We're both just kind of A-moving into each other. But I just have more power now because you literally went into like, you shifted gears into this like all-in territory because you felt unsure about what was going on and you felt panicked. If you play like that, you always play worse.
It's really good to hear that because I never felt comfortable making, you know, premature gates and reacting to my opponent. I always felt it was like bad macro, and now it's confirmed that it kind of is.
Yeah, no, like once you have better game sense, then it makes sense to actually read your opponent's builds. But nobody, I'm telling you right now, I always say this because it's so true. Anyone below Diamond doesn't have real games to base the game off of. It's always fucked up versions of the game because one player or both players always has something about their build that is fucking off. Or like either a little off or really, really off. So if you just do a build properly, you on average come out ahead. I'm not going to say 100% of the time because there's lots of variables there that could happen with people. Someone could fucking smurf you or whatever. But on average, you will be promoted if you can play solid game after solid game after solid game on like a regular basis, which means you don't let your opponent's build bully how you think about playing the game.
Awesome. That's great.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I think that's I got a lot of info.
Yeah, man. Definitely prioritize that robo and then second gate. Go for those warp-ins. That's going to help you a lot against those all-ins. And every time you see your opponent is not prioritizing expansion as fast as you are, do not be hesitant to throw down that initial pylon right away at the natural and then immediately battery that shit. Because if you did, like that game we just saw, you would have it done and it would make defending your base so much easier.
Okay. All right, that sounds good.
All right, dude. Best of luck, JCS. And bro, I wish you the best. And yeah, always feel free to pop in the stream and ask me more questions while I'm streaming and stuff like that if you feel the need to.
All right, ViBE, sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good day, man. And I'll like I do always, I'll post this to you by probably tomorrow for the VOD.
Okay, cool. Take care.
All right, later, man. All right, guys. Boom. Coaching lesson with JCS. JCS, much love for doing another coaching lesson. I appreciate you very much, dude. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys again tomorrow for another day. Or, I mean, I am coaching a lot. I'll see you guys next time. I don't know if I'm doing it tomorrow specifically, but I'll see you guys next time for another coaching lesson or whatever replay analysis, Bronze GM video. But thanks for watching. Good luck, everybody. And adios. See ya.